What's up, y'all? Hello again. This video is about determining your lock size. How did I determine what size I was gonna get with my locks? How did I end up with some of them being thick and some of them being skinny? What was my thought process? All that type of stuff. Okay, first of all, I started my whole natural hair journey on my own. I started by transitioning, and then 2 months later I was like, yo, I am tired of this. And so I went in the bathroom and I took some scissors, these scissors in fact, these right here, and I was like, no, okay? And then I was left with just low cut that I was very proud of because it looked good. I was like, whoa, that felt empowering. Whoa, this is my face. There's no distractions. Whoa, this haircut kind of smooth though. I had that whole thought process. Then my grandma saw me and she's like, oh,
you wanna look like a boy.
You know that old school mentality where your hair is your beauty, and if you don't have it long then you're less pretty and that kind of nonsense. Psh. But you know what? I was floating on that high. I didn't register it. Onyx is over here. He better not mess with my plant. You better leave it. But yes, went in the bathroom, cut my hair, and boom, big chop. From there, I learned everything that I know from watching YouTube videos, really. Doing research on the Google. Right on the Google. What do I want to know? Google. Did all that type of stuff. So with this lock journey, at that point I was 4 years natural. My fro was pretty significant. It was looking good, it was feeling good, but it was also a real task to maintain it. The wash days, you gotta detangle, then you gotta wash, do the things, wash, condition, and then come back and detangle, and then set it, style it some kind of way, make sure you get the moisture balance on point. Some days it won't look exactly how you want it. It was just a lot. Spending hours at a time styling my hair, the longer that it got, was just daunting. So one night, Christmas Eve 2015 to be exact, I had already gone through the week procrastinating. It was time. I needed to wash my hair. I didn't have time to do the whole process. So around that time I had been wearing it in mini twists often, and so Christmas Eve I was like, okay, I can take this all down, wash my hair, and then put it back in twists, or I wonder if I can just wash my hair and just retwist the roots and treat it like some locks. So I went on the internet, went on YouTube. Leave the plant alone. Leave it. Onyx likes to chew on my plant leaves, and he's already messed up one of my plants, done snatched it out of its pot, done knocked it over, the plant falling on the floor, the soil on the floor, the plant all disheveled, roots everywhere. Leave the plant alone, Onyx. Leave it. What was I saying? Yeah, so I went on YouTube and Google, and I just looked at how do people start locks. How long does that process take? Long story short, I washed my hair and I retwisted it. From then on, it's just continued to flourish. Yeah, you know I'm looking at you. You out here wilding. All that to say, I have such an intimate relationship with my hair. I know what it needs. I know how it thrives. I know how it grows. At the point that I started locking, I had already realized that my hair grows kind of like out, like this. It grows very similarly to how my dad's hair grows. He's always rocking a fro or braids or twists or whatever. So his hair grows like out like that, and so does mine. We have two different textures though. He got the curlies, I got the coilies. It's all good either way. Onyx, stop. You making hella noise in the background. Come, play with this. See this? But yeah, my mini twists were like, let's say they started like this skinny. My mini twist started like this skinny. From this point, they thickened up to this size. So it went from this to this as far as how thick it got. And how is it possible that I'm able to show you two different sizes? Well, I have different textures all around my head. I'm sure most naturals can relate to this. In the front, it might be a little bit loose. In the back, it might be a little bit wavy. On the sides, it might be a little bit tight. In the middle, it might be super, super tight. Because of that, I was like, okay, since these are obviously going to get thicker with time, and with thickness and length comes heaviness, I thought to myself, okay, around my edges, I'm gonna keep those really skinny. So I started those smaller than the rest of them. And I figured if it's skinnier, it'll be lighter. And if it's lighter, I won't have to deal with my edges getting weaker because there's not a lot of weight in the front. So far, so good. As you can see, my edges are flourishing. They're flourishing to the point that I'm able to separate some of it and create brand new little baby locks in the front. For those of you who do not know, I decided to lock up my edges some more because what was happening is the new growth would be so much that some of it would separate from the lock, and I would, every time I had to retwist, I would be like trying to get it back into the lock. So I started to feel like my edges just want to be doing their own thing. They want their own space. So I let my baby hairs combined with a little tiny piece of the neighboring lock, put it together and made little babies. So yeah, the locks in the front are skinnier. The locks on the side are slightly thicker, like this. As you can see, this is what my sides look like. And then in the middle, the ones in the middle are also thick because middle of my head, my hair is coilier, it's tighter. And so I felt that because of the sturdiness of the coil, that it could manage a thicker size because the springiness of it, I don't really know how to explain. I figured if it's thicker in the middle, it can manage the weight as opposed to the edges where they're finer. The hair is more loose in texture, so I figured, you know, lighten it up in the front. And in the middle, I made them regular degular. So this is the size of my locks in the middle, size of them in the front, size of them on the sides, and then in the back now. So I did the in-between size for the back ones because the texture in the back is also loose like the front, except it's looser in curl pattern, but it's also finer in texture. Like it's, I guess, softer in the back than it is in the front. The front is more so coarse-ish, and then the back is like soft and wavy. And because of that, I don't want to OD and make them super thick. I wanted to be reasonable with what I thought the back of my hair could manage. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it was intuitive, and it was intuitive because I already knew my hair. Therefore, as I was going row by row, I would feel the texture and be like, okay, this can handle some more, and then I will make it a little bit thicker. Like, because even this one is in the back. It's back here, but it's skinnier than, I mean, it's thicker than this one. Well, they kind of look the same. I don't know, I guess because I can feel the difference, I know. Point being, I chose the size of my locks based off of the texture of my hair and the way that my hair grows all around my head, and that allowed me to determine how much weight I felt comfortable putting in certain areas of my head. And also, truthfully speaking, I had already been around people with locks that were skinnier, and they would tell me about their experiences with wishing that they went thicker, wishing that they took the leap and went a little thicker. A lot of them got their starters done by a professional or a loctician, so they pretty much just trusted them to decide for them what size to do. But in my case, I trusted myself because I had the most experience with handling my hair. Knew how my hair grew. I knew how my hair laid when it was in a twist format. And because I knew all of those things, I knew what I wanted my hair to look like. Knowing what you want your hair to look like is a major component to deciding what size you want your locks to be, what thickness you want them to be, what parting pattern you want to use, because at the end of the day, you're operating off of your knowledge of self. As your hair goes through the different stages of locking, from the starters to the baby, budding, teenage stage, adulthood, each stage they change in texture, they change in appearance, and they get slightly thicker. Right? So knowing that, you had to anticipate for the fact that if I started really skinny, it's gonna thicken up a little bit. So like, you have to ask yourself these questions. If I start my hair thick, am I comfortable with the fact that my hair is going to be a little bit wider than it was when I started? Am I comfortable with the fact that my hair is going to stay skinny if I started really small? What kind of look am I going for? Do I want it to be fluffy? Do I want it to look like my hair strands? What do I want my hair to look like? Questions that need answers. So these are all things that you have to know about within yourself. You have to consult with yourself, because what ends up happening is when people don't really consult with themselves on a thorough level, or maybe aren't really sure what they want their hair to look like, you might see people who have been locked for a few years and they cut it and they start over and they're like, yeah, I started it with sister locks, but now I want full locks, or I started it with full locks and now I want it to be even thicker than they are. People end up changing their mind because they see how their hair grows over time, and they determine for themselves, I actually can see my hair looking a little bit different than it looks right now. In my case, my hair looks even better than I could have ever anticipated, because I went in alignment with myself, with my style, with my personality, and with my hair, the character of my hair. That's what informed a lot of my decisions. So in a nutshell, if I'm telling somebody who is considering getting locks, or who's even considering redoing their locks or combining some locks, I would say to you, 1, consider your hair texture. Do you have coily hair? Do you have curly hair? Do you have spongy hair? Is it dense? Then encourage you to consider, can my hair manage a certain amount of weight? And you have to think to yourself, usually I have weaker edges, so maybe I don't want to do my locks too thick in the front. Maybe my hair is prone to breakage in the front, so I don't want to expose myself to that possibility. Maybe your hair is really resilient, has a certain texture that allows for it to be pulled and like is really sturdy. Maybe you have really sturdy follicles. And in that case, you can be like, hey, I want thicker locks. I'm okay with them getting heavier because I know my scalp and my follicles can handle it. They're really tough to crack. I can do all of this and they'll stay together. You know, it's all up to you. It's all up to your hair type, your hair texture, your hair personality, and your vision for yourself and what your hair will look like as it grows. So you have to do a little bit of planning ahead, foreseeing, visualization. What will my hair look like when it reaches this stage of locking? What will it look like? Am I okay with it looking like that? These are the questions that need answering. Also, research. Do your research. And when I say research, I mean asking the questions to the internet that you're asking with yourself. So whatever you want to know and you realize you don't have the answer to that question, consult with the internet. We out here, we're inquiring minds. So you're inquiring with yourself, and then you're taking your inquiry to a place where you can generally find a broad range of data and insights and perspective. If you know people around you who have locks, take the moment to actually study their locks. Observe them and consider to yourself, okay, they started with this texture, now they're locked up, and this is what their hair looks like. My texture is like XYZ, so you can decide for yourself how you want to play that card. For me, at the time I was dating someone who had locks, I was able to look at his hair and feel it and see the texture of his new growth and compare it to mine and decide for myself, I want my hair to be a smidge thicker than that, you know? So if you have anyone around you who has locks and you have an actual connection with them, someone that you're cool with, you can ask them, hey, can I like play in your hair? Can I just like feel your hair? Can I look at your hair up close? Can you send me a picture? Like, you can have those kind of question and answer sessions with somebody who you know personally. Or even if it's someone you don't know personally, you can be like, hey, no, if you don't know them personally, you don't go up in their inbox grilling them about their locks. Don't do that. That's annoying. Don't do it. So scratch that. Yeah, do your research. Ask questions to the people who you know are receptive to your questions. Lastly, become friends, okay, with your hair in its natural state. Learn your hair, learn what it needs to thrive, learn how it grows. The more you understand about your own hair, your own scalp, your own texture, the better informed you will be about any decision that you make, because you will know firsthand, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about because I know my hair. Now, granted, there can be somebody else who's like a loctician, for instance, who really knows locks. You can go to a loctician and be like, hey, can you give me a consultation? Like, you can tell them what you're going for. You can tell them, I want my hair to be really thick, or I want to have a whole bunch of locks, or I only want to have a few locks. I want them to be skinny. You can have them give you a consultation and they will tell you, okay, based off of what I see of your hair, and based off of what you've told me from your own experience, start around this size, because as time goes on, it's gonna develop and look like this. And I promise, once you sit with yourself, once you know your hair, once you do your research, you'll be able to make a really informed and empowered decision about what size to start for your locks. Okay, so I hope this little chat session was informative. I feel that it was, okay? At the very least, I hope you've gained a good deal of perspective for your lock journeys. If you're considering starting locks, combining locks, consider those things, okay? That's all I got for y'all today. It's been a pleasure as always. Subscribe. Y'all know the deal. I don't even gotta tell you. If you fuck with what I'm talking about, subscribe, okay? If not, then go about your business. It's all good either way. All right, y'all. Bye.